classical literature lesson by me, Holewale Sobea. Today we'll be looking at literary terms. Somebody may wonder, what are literary terms? These are terms that literature workers or writers use in order to express themselves vividly in a way that is interesting and it will captivate the listener or the reader's attention. So we're going to be looking at this term, literature. What is literature as a whole? What does it mean? What is it, and what is it that it tries to address? Somebody may define literature as a broadly defined or it can be broadly defined as any written or spoken material. And you find that literature includes poetry, drama, novel, and non-fiction writing and fiction writing. All these fall under literature. And as you all know, and it's common sense, literature can be written and can be oral. So when writers or poets write, they use certain devices, they use certain techniques, they use certain ways of writing in order to do their work in a way that will be interesting, like I said previously. There is what is called a pun as a literary device or as a writing device. What is a pun? A pun is a play of words that have similar sounds but different meanings. You find that when a writer uses a pun, they are mostly looking at the sound of words. They are mostly looking at the ways in which words sound. A pun depends heavily on the sounds of the words. It is mostly a joke by using homophones. Homophones, we know these are words that sound the same. Homo from same and phones from sounds. And I'm going to give an example of a pun. Somebody may say, the tallest building in town is a library. It has 1,000 stories. The tallest building in town is a library. It has 1,000 stories. Here, we're depending mainly on the two sounds, story and story. So here is a play of the sound of these two words. We don't listen, you don't look at the spelling of the words, but you mainly look at the sounds of the words, the way in which these words sound. That's what makes it a pun. It's a play of words like I said previously, and it mostly depends on the sound of the words. And then we go on to personification. What is personification as a literary device? Personification is giving animals or things that are not human beings characteristics of human beings. Or in simpler terms, is a figure of speech that gives human qualities to abstract things and animals and inanimate objects. You can say, for example, the wind whistled. The wind whistled. You are giving wind human characteristics. You are personifying it. And wind is not a human being, therefore it can't whistle. So therefore when you say it whistled, you are personifying it. You are giving it human qualities. Am I clear? Alright. And then now we'll also look at alliteration. Alliteration is also a device that depends heavily on sound. A device that depends heavily on sound because it is a repetition of consonant sound. A repetition of consonant sounds at the end of the words. That is alliteration. Someone can say, she sells seashells at the seashore. So that repetition of that sound is what makes it alliteration. And as you can hear, it's the consonants that have been repeated. And then also there is assonance as a sound device. Assonance is repetition of vowel sounds. Repetition of vowel sounds. An example can be stamp your feet. I made a mistake. Okay. A repetition of vowel sounds, that would be assonance. And now we'll move on to consonants. What is consonants? Consonants is repetition of vowel sounds in the middle of the words. Repetition of vowel sounds in the middle of the words. Somebody can say, the finger lingered longer. The finger lingered longer. So this g, g, g sounds makes it consonants. You'll find that is repetition of vowel sounds in the middle of the words. And then you also have what is called hyperbole. Hyperbole is over-exaggeration. When you over-exaggerate in order to emphasize a point, you blow things out of proportion in order to enable the listener or the reader to understand what you are saying. For example, someone can get home and say, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. No one can ever finish the whole house. So this person is saying out the statement in order to emphasize how hungry they are. And then you also have what is called a metaphor. A metaphor, just like simile, is mainly for comparison. A metaphor is mainly for comparison. And you compare something directly by naming it in that manner. You can say, my father is a lion. My father is a lion. In order to express how strict your father is or how scary your father is. Therefore, you call him directly a lion, and you are comparing without the use of s or like. So comparison without the use of s or like makes it a metaphor. And then we have what is called a simile. We have what is called a simile. Simile is comparison of two things with the use of s or like. You can say, my mother is like an angel. My mother is like an angel. You are using like here in order to compare the mother and an angel, just to show how sweet or how nice they are. And then we have sarcasm. Sarcasm. What is sarcasm? A sarcasm is when you make fun of something, or when you make some fun of the next person in a mocking way, perhaps even in an insulting manner. That makes it a sarcastic statement, when you make fun of someone in a mocking way. We also have what is called irony. The irony is the literary criticism, the effect of language in which the intended meaning is opposite of what is stated. The intended meaning is opposite of what is stated. You'll find that irony, unlike sarcasm, you are saying the opposite of what is intended, but in a more polite way, in a more respectful manner. And that's why irony and sarcasm differ. Sarcasm, you are saying the opposite in a mocking way, in a way of making fun of the next person, but irony, now you say that the opposite of what you mean, but in a more polite manner. And then we go on to talk about diction. What is diction? Diction simply means choice of words. Diction simply means choice of words. The way in which someone speaks, the way in which they express themselves, that is diction. You'll find that when someone is, like when I'm teaching now, there's a certain diction that I use, but when I'm with my friends and with my family, there's a relaxed, informal diction that I choose, that I use. There's even a way in which I speak than when I'm in a formal setup, and that is called diction. And then we may also want to go back to the mood and tone. Mood and tone. Mood actually means the prevailing emotion of work of an author. The prevailing emotion. How does this poem feel? How does this novel make you feel? How does this story make you feel? Is it a sad mood or a happy mood? Mood simply means the emotion that the literary work evokes as you read it. And then the tone can be formal or informal. Tone can simply be informal or informal. It's the author's attitude towards his or audience, and it is mainly deduced from the words that are used. That's what tone is all about. And that's all we had for you. Thank you.